to By the Book Bonus Bet. Sia Nejad, McDonald here for another edition of Futures. However, we're not going to talk about futures. We're going to talk about a different way to bet. And, Sia, you love parlays. You love totals. You love so many different things and so many different ways to bet, but you also love to ladder props.
Yes.
So let's talk about it, because a lot of times we go through alternate lines, rushing props, receiving props, passing yards, whatever it may be, but walk us through how you target your ladder plays.
Yeah, so it's interesting because last week we did our Rapid Fire Fridays and I had Cedric Tillman as one of my plays. And if you follow me on social media, you know I laddered that play as well. I think he's a really good example. And so when we look at a traditional line, when we're talking about props, we see an over-under, right? We see something like this, total receiving yards over 38.5 yards, under 38.5 yards. You play that minus 115 either way. Well, here's the thing, and I think a lot of people don't really recognize this because when they're going to props, they don't like dig a little deeper. There are alternate receiving yard options, okay? And when you see alternate receiving yards for a guy like a Cedric Tillman that can get downfield and really gobble up yards on just a couple of catches, that's where you want to look for those type of bets, those type of ladder bets. So here's what we're seeing here. We've got 40 plus. For this same receiver that was 38.5, we got 40 plus options, 50 plus, 60 plus, and 70 plus. So here's what you do. When you're laddering the play, it's really up to you in terms of how your unit size and how you want to bet it. But for example, you could take that normal line, that 38.5, and put a half a unit on it, for example. And that other half that you would have ordinarily put on that same bet over 38.5, you take that half a unit and you spill it out onto the 40 plus, the 50 plus, the 60 plus, and even the 70 plus. It's up to you in terms of use your discretion on how high you want to go on the ladder. But these alternate receiving yards, let's just say, Meg, I didn't even want to take the regular line. Let's say I just wanted to hit the plus 240 at 60 plus. A lot of people, they'll do a parlay, like a 3-game parlay, a money line parlay, and inevitably one of those legs misses, right? It's a kind of an irresponsible bet. These are the type of things where you can key in on a receiver. Cedric Tillman, for example, going against a Ravens defense that was without some of their defensive backs. That was going to be a negative game script likely for the Cleveland Browns, a guy who was kind of establishing himself as the alpha. Those are the types of situations where suddenly you want to look for alternate receiving yards, you want to look for a potential ladder play. Can
you think of, I know you mentioned Cedric Tillman because it was recent, it was literally less than a week ago, but what's your best ladder prop hit?
Ooh, Cedric Tillman was a really good one. Yeah. There's guys earlier in the season, like Darnell Mooney, for example, who wasn't getting a lot of pub early. People didn't really know how talented he was. They didn't know how much Kirk Cousins was going to target him. He was a guy I laddered early, and what's so beautiful about Darnell Mooney and receivers like that, when you look at the receptions prop, it might be 1.5, it might be 2.5, but because they get deep downfield, you're getting great odds on a 60 plus, 70 plus, and you can hit that regular prop, the regular line, but also ladder it, and it just takes sometimes 3 or 4 catches, and you're at 75 yards, and you've hit every rung of the ladder.
And you're coming away cashing some of those tickets. We love to see it. And that was presented by Sia Nejad and teaching us how to bet and do some ladder plays. That's going to do it for By the Book Bonus Bets this edition in terms of ladder plays. But we'll be back next week with more futures and all sorts of content Monday through Friday on By the Book, 5:30 p.m. We'll see you next time.